Welcome to The Business Edge, the podcast where we help small businesses sharpen their competitive advantage. My name is Michelle, and today we're diving into a topic that's top of mind for a lot of small business owners: compensation and benefits. We're thrilled to have our very own HR Manager Veronica Bruner joining us to share her experience and expertise. Veronica, thank you so much for coming and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the basics. What is pay transparency? Why is it a hot topic? And why is it so important?
So pay transparency is simply being open about how pay decisions are made. It doesn't always mean posting everyone's salary. It means clearly explaining your pay ranges, how your roles are leveled, what skills or experience influence your pay decisions, and how raises are determined. For small businesses, it builds trust. When employees understand the why behind compensation, it takes the human nature of thinking that there might be some biased decisions that are being made. Mm-hmm. It also strengthens retention. People stay when they feel that the process is fair and equitable. And in today's labor market, transparency helps attract your top talent. Job seekers want clarity, and employers who can explain their philosophy and stand out.
That's great. And so does it also mean posting, when you have a job opening, a salary range?
You can, and it's highly encouraged that you post a salary range. In 2026, employers in Oregon are required to post comprehensive payroll transparency. Those are big words. Mm-hmm. And what that means is basically you have to give them a decoder of what all your pay codes mean. So a lot of times on a pay statement, it'll say VAC for vacation. You just have to let them know what all those codes mean on their pay statements.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I do see a lot of codes on there, and you're great in that I can always come and ask you, but it would be nice if it was readily available, right? So
yeah,
in a lot of businesses. For some small businesses, that might feel a little bit scary, like they're putting everything out there, and maybe feel pressured to, disclose salaries of employees. What are some practical steps that a small business can take to start being more transparent about their pay without causing any kind of confusion or conflict within the organization?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's 4 simple steps that you can do as an employer, and they're intentional steps that make a big difference. So define your compensation philosophy. What does that mean? Explain what your business values are, the market competitiveness, internal equity, skill development, long-term retention, and how pay aligns with all of those. And create and share your pay ranges. You can start with a few core roles. It doesn't have to be all of them all at one time. And use market data from the free resources that are out there. Ranges give structure and eliminate any guessing that team members might have. Document how pay decisions are made. Outline what factors matter, such as experience, certifications, performance, scope of responsibility. When the criteria is clear, it removes the mystery and the tension around those decisions. And communicate proactively. Provide a one-page overview or a short conversation. Transparency fails when people fill in the blanks, so take those blanks away.
Yeah, I think when an employee wants to know how they can work towards getting a pay raise or advancing in that organization, I think having all those steps clearly delineated makes it easier for everybody, and certainly makes it so that there's no chance of claiming bias or so-and-so is more friends with another person.
Right, yes.
So in addition, I know for myself, in addition to pay, Employees also consider what other benefits could be offered. And I know a lot of small businesses worry that they can't compete with the big companies and their, ping pong tables and their lunch expenses and all those kinds of things. But what are some benefits that small businesses can offer, even if they have a small budget, that really make a difference and an impact to the employees?
Yeah, so you don't need to be a Fortune 500 company to have a budget to offer meaningful benefits. Some high impact, low cost examples are a flexible work arrangement. You have lots of parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents that are in the workforce that want to be a part of their family's lives. So being able to adjust their schedules for that, having hybrid positions where they're in office some days and working from home other days, or fully remote positions definitely help the morale. A wellness stipend, a reimbursement for fitness, mental health apps, or even a gym pass. And a lot of people, especially in the small communities where small businesses are at, they want to volunteer out in the community. So giving them the time to be able to do that doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay them during that time, but offering that flexible time for them to be able to go volunteer. Employee discounts through vendors or local partnerships, professional development dollars to be able to get higher up in that pay bracket. You can do online classes that is a small stipend for your team members. Financial wellness resources such as budgeting tools or credit union partnerships, and recognition programs. It's really important to recognize your employees and the job that they're doing for you. Also, an employee assistance program is really important. It's a very small cost with huge benefits that team members can take advantage of. These type of benefits matter because they improve the quality of life, they support well-being, and strengthen loyalty without those large costs.
Yeah, and I think for something like the employee assistance program, I think having that discussion and as an employer letting your employees know that you really do care about their overall well-being and not just what they produce at work builds a really good culture as well. And it's not just about the benefits of it. But and I also know, like here at Central Willamette, we have, as an employee, we have access to things like LinkedIn Learning, which has been really good. And while there may be a cost to that, I think it benefits everybody in the long run. We've learned so much. I know I've taken a few classes, so things like that make a difference in whatever ways you can find those benefits, right?
Right.
How can a small business make sure that its pay and benefits are fair and competitive, especially if they don't have an HR team?
Yeah, so there's 3 basics that you can start with. Use publicly available market data. So the state workforce website, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, professional associations, salary reports from Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor. These are all free starting points that you can gather your information from. Also benchmark against similar businesses, not large corporations. Some small businesses will try to compete with the larger corporations, and you outmarket yourself by doing that. So make sure that you look at like similar roles and positions. Look locally within your industry to get a realistic picture of what competitive truly means for your size of market. And the easiest one is ask your team members for feedback. What is it that is important to them? You can either do it depending on how big your team is. You can do it by a survey, or you can do it just by having a conversation with your team members, asking them what's most important. Is it benefits? Is it flexible time? Is it pay? What is it that's important to them? If you can gather consistent market information and pair it with employee input, you can make fair, informed decisions even without an HR team.
Yeah, I think accessing your own employees and what's important to them really can show small business owners that you don't have to compete. I mean, here in Portland, anyone can go and make a decent wage, but when you factor in commute and parking and all the things that come with a big Portland office, it's not that important. Maybe the wage isn't as competitive as staying local in a smaller community, in a smaller organization. So I definitely, I can see why communicating with your staff and communicating with your employees is such a big positive thing, in addition to building culture.
Right.
How often should a small business owner be looking at their compensation and benefits kind of package?
So at a minimum, you should be looking at it every year. But ideally, you're checking the market more frequently as labor costs and job demands can shift very quickly. Mm-hmm. We've seen that since COVID hit. Mm-hmm. The market definitely shifts very quickly, and you have to be on top of that. Mm-hmm. So some tools and resources that you can use, and I already talked about it a little bit earlier, is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics wage and occupation data. Indeed, Glassdoor, I know we haven't heard about Glassdoor for a few years, but it's still out there and it holds a lot of data. So make sure you're looking at Glassdoor and LinkedIn Salary Insights. Your local SHRM chapters or industry associations, compensation surveys from credit unions, Chamber of Commerce or trade groups. A simple thing that you can use that costs probably just a one-time cost is Excel. When you get all your information, make sure you're tracking those ranges, your midpoint, your comparisons, your compa ratios. If a business wants deeper support, working with an HR consultant during these times is available and affordable instead of hiring a full-time HR team. It still ensures that you're making data-driven decisions, but you also have an HR professional that can give you input on those things.
That's great, because I didn't know HR consultants existed. So that's just something that you would do maybe once a year, is look to somebody to hire?
Yeah, I would do it at least once a year. Mm-hmm. You can definitely use the free resources. You can get a SHRM membership that will allow you to put your employee handbook through the system, make sure that everything's correct. You can also use your local Chamber of Commerce that can help guide you on some policies and procedures. You should probably be looking at all of those at least once a year. Mm-hmm. When laws change mid-year, that's when you probably should reach out to a consultant or a local SHRM chapter.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Veronica. This has been so incredibly helpful. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to The Business Edge. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with your entire network. For more resources, please visit us at centralwcu.org. Thanks for listening.
The information provided here is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any financial decisions.